So, hot on the heels of yesterday's announcement that Wizards of the Coast was no longer going to deauthorize the OGL 1.0A, and the fact that they had put the SRD 5.1 out in Creative Commons, which is amazing, Paizo had this to say over on their Twitter account. We welcome today's news from Wizards of the Coast regarding their intention not to deauthorize OGL 1.A. They're being magnanimous in victory, which we should all be doing right now. However, we still believe there is a powerful need for an irrevocable, perpetual, independent, system-neutral, open license that will serve the tabletop community via non-profit stewardship. Work on the ORC license will continue with an expected first draft released for comment to participating publishers in February. This is a good thing. For those of you who watched the video that I think came out before this one, I record these things in different orders and then have to pay attention to which ones get published when. But I think the one before this, I mentioned the fact that everyone out there is considering this a win right now. All right, the SRD going into the Creative Commons is a win. The OGL 1.A fight, with them backing away from the deauthorizing language at the moment, that's a win for now in that battle, because we still don't know what they're going to try to do with an upcoming OGL. They could decide to come back around and fight for the OGL again in the future. However, by making the SRD rules out there for 5th edition available in Creative Commons, it means they are finally, once and for all, accepting that you can't copyright rules and rule sets and systems, and they put that out in the Creative Commons, which means anyone who is ever creating content under 5th edition rules, which we were as an example, can now use those rules free and clear, and you don't have to have the OGL as part of your products. You don't need a license because those rules are out there now and are freely available for everyone to use, which is a massive, massive win. But as I said in my other video, I am not going to be jumping back on the OGL bandwagon quite yet. I do consider it a win, and I am being humble in the victory dance that I'm doing because we did win. Wizards of the Coast may do things in the future we don't know. It would be very irresponsible of us, I think, to assume that they're obviously up to something nefarious and this is just a feint. It's not real. I'm not going to be that person. I'm choosing to take this as a win, to be magnanimous in victory, as Paizo is doing, and as many other companies. I showed in the other video yesterday, talking about how all of these companies out there are being humble. And Paizo made a statement, Ryan Dancy made a statement, DM Dave made a statement. There's lots of really good statements out there being made about this, and people are genuinely across the board, for the most part, being gracious of Wizards of the Coast and saying thank you for doing this. This is what we asked you for in the first place. However, even though I think it's a win, and I'm very happy to see the rule set that my wife started playing on, the rule set that I've enjoyed a lot, now is freely available to everyone via Creative Commons, I'm not immediately jumping on board with the OGL again, because I, like Paizo and many others, believe that change is a good thing, and the change that has been sparked as a result of this conversation is not something that needs to stop happening because Wizards suddenly made an about face and said, all right, guys, you're right, we were wrong, we screwed up, we'll back away. No, because now we've got Cobalt Press, working on a rule set. We've got all of this new interest in Pathfinder. I got involved in Starfinder because of this. For the first time in my entire life, apart from a brief stint with the Star Wars RPG in the 90s, for the first time apart from that in 30 plus years of gaming, I am trying new systems. And that's because of the controversy. And we stripped the OGL out of our product for the Weave in the Void, for that world map behind me. We stripped it out of our source book in the campaign module, that first campaign module. And looking forward, I've said I don't know what we're doing yet. I would like to think that the ORC Alliance is going to provide everything that we want and need out of a license to make it accessible to a wider audience, but you also don't need a license to publish. If you're willing to take the risk to publish your own stuff with your own everything, right? And you're willing to hike that mountain to try to make sales on your own without some sort of a conglomerate, partnership, you could do that. It's absolutely a viable option. One of the reasons that we went with the OGL originally, as I said in one of the first videos I did on the topic, was because at the time it was the easiest way to get our product in front of the most amount of eyes as possible, because 85% of the market share being Dungeons and Dragons related means that if I publish something, if I show this book to 10 people, 8 of those people are going to recognize it if it is an association with 5th edition or the world's most popular role-playing game. Fact. Fact. Yes, there are great systems out there like Pathfinder, like Savage Worlds, like all these other things that I've learned about because of this controversy. But the fact still remains that D&D had a huge market share of recognition, and that was the easiest way to sell copies. I am very much on board with what Paizo is doing with the ORC Alliance, because like them, I believe that it's time to move away from 85% market share. I don't think that that's a good thing. I have learned more about these other systems and other worlds, and I think we need to see tabletop as a genre start to grow, not just one company getting all of the love and attention. And I'm not tribal about it either. I don't look at D&D versus Pathfinder versus Savage. Oh, that system's better and it's always going to be. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is now is a time, because of all this controversy, that everyone's getting a chance to flourish, because this controversy has bred innovation and growth in all sectors of tabletop. We're seeing some great initiatives come out of this. The RPG Alliance in Europe, as I mentioned the other day, what Paizo is doing. I thought I had a sneeze there. It's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what's coming down the pipeline for tabletop. So I'm on board with the ORC Alliance. I'm signed up. I'm in the Discord. I'm looking forward to seeing the draft. My gut tells me that if we choose to use a license again with our products, it's going to be the ORC license. That's what my gut tells me. I won't know until I see final wording and the drafts and everything else. But I think that it's a good thing to have it in the hands, as they say, of a non-profit stewardship, because at the end of the day, the OGL is still something that's tied to Wizards of the Coast. And they've shown at least a couple of times now, under different management, but still with 4th edition and now with 1D&D 6th edition, they've shown that they are at the very least willing to do things that can potentially disturb the balance and in a bad way. And that's what has made people nervous. And this is why I say there's a fine line between cynicism and healthy, I don't want to say skepticism, but it is sort of, it's like, okay, you've done it a couple times, burn me once, burn me twice, that kind of thing. Now I think everyone's opinions of Wizards of the Coast is very much firmly in the camp of, can you be trusted? And I would like to think that the current management knows that. Ryan Dancy had a really good tweet on it yesterday. I'm going to go look at my tweets real quick because I retweeted it. He had a really good statement, I think. There are many people inside D&D who fought hard for this, inside Wizards. They needed and got our support during the fight, knowing they were not alone, had to have help sustain them. We never know who they are or what they did, but the end results speak for itself. So again, lots of people have made this happen, and it's a good thing all around. But like the ORC Alliance and everybody who's a part of that, I'm looking forward to seeing this, because I think that we need a license that's out there. Because again, even though Wizards of the Coast put the rules in Creative Commons, making the rules available for everyone. They didn't make their license available to everyone. They just said, here's the OGL 1.0a, and we're going to leave it as is. Because in our minds, our interpretation has been that licenses for everyone forever in perpetuity and everything else. But Wizards has made a claim that that's not true. And even though they have now backed off that claim, I think it's made a lot of people go, well, maybe we wait and see what you guys are going to come out with eventually. And in the meantime, we'll look at what Paizo's happening, what Cobalt Press has going on. All these other things are happening now. So I think it's a good thing to see that, because at the end of the day, the OGL is still in the hands of Wizards. And what they may or may not do with that, it doesn't really affect me anymore. But at the same time, it has ramifications across the landscape, assuming there aren't other alternatives that people can use if they want to, and the ORC Alliance is providing that. So for me, that's a good thing. Again, final language and everything else, but I'm pretty confident with what I've seen so far. And I think moving forward, it's going to be very interesting to see this continuing to grow and flourish. You know, I look at where the SRD 5.1 rules now being in the Creative Commons, where that puts everybody, and I think it's a better place than we were before all this controversy started, because now that's out there, and it's something that just adds to the ability for people to quickly and easily, if their friends have only ever known 5th edition, everybody can go out there now and quickly pick up anything that's, related to 5th edition and start playing it, because they have that rule set freely available and they can create things off of it, and that's not a bad thing. What Paizo is working on with the ORC, also not a bad thing. It's a better thing, because it's going to be this, non-profit stewardship thing. So at the end of the day, kudos to Paizo. And again, being magnanimous in victory, which we all should be. We did get a win with the OGL 1.0a and the SRD 5.1. So let's take that. Let's be gracious in that victory, humble, and just move forward with helping the ORC become the best thing it possibly can be, and continuing to be good stewards of the tabletop space as a whole. Don't focus on system versus system. It's all one community. Let's all have fun out there together, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, comment if you will, support if you can. All those ways down here. There's a Discord for our tabletop world and other stuff that's associated with it. Check the links. See you guys next time. Peace.